Kia ora, ko te Niiwai Mutu ingoa, student number 2102752. And this is our oral presentation for MAO 203, Te Ao Hurihuri, and this is our Treaty of Waitangi timeline.
Ka pai.
Blake Ihimaera 2101767.
Sidonie Apiata 2101770.
David Ihimaera 2052311.
Our timeline begins in 1814 with the first mission. The first mission, Reverend Samuel Marsden of the Church Missionary Society preached the first sermon in New Zealand on Christmas Day, 1814. 1831, Māori petition, British government. Growing lawlessness among Europeans in New Zealand and fears of French annexation of the country led 13 Māori chiefs to ask King William IV for his protection. Missionary William Yates helped the chiefs draft the letter to the king. The Crown acknowledged the petition and promised protection. In 1833, the British residents arrived. To protect Māori, the growing number of British settlers and its own trade interests, the British government appointed James Busby as its official British resident, a type of junior councillor representative with little power. He arrived in May 1833 and built a house on land he brought in Waitangi.
In 1835, the Declaration of Independence was created, otherwise known as He Whakaputanga o Ngā Rangatiratanga. It was created by James Busby. He asserted the independence of New Zealand with all sovereignty and power to the New Zealand peoples. In 1840, we have our national agreement called the Treaty of Waitangi. It was signed by over 500 chiefs from here and some parties from Britain. In 1844 to 1845, Hurihuri decided he would cut down the flagpole because he's seen this as a symbol. He's seen the flagpole as a symbol of a loss of status for the Māori people, so he cut it down to strike all ties between the British people without physically involving them.
Ka pai.
Huh?
In 1854, the first parliament was established in New Zealand. In 1852 was the introduction of the New Zealand Constitution Act, and that act basically established a formal parliament, a formal government in New Zealand. The parliament that was put into place was based on a Westminster system that was transported, I suppose, from Britain. The idea and purpose of it was to establish rules and laws throughout all of New Zealand, and was just another means, a greater means for Pākehā to settle in New Zealand, establish their laws and get a lot of land through the establishment of laws. In 1858, we have down in Waikato, they were very unhappy, and I suppose nationally as Māori they were very unhappy with the amount of land that was being taken, the laws that were being established that kind of disenfranchised a lot of Māori at the time, and so the establishment of the kingitanga was created in 1858 with Te Whero being the first Māori king, and the purpose of the establishment of that of the kingitanga was to create a unity amongst Māori, and also to protect further land from being taken from Māori hands. They saw that the royal sort of kaupapa, that they wanted to apply the same things with Māori control. So it was a form of tino rangatiratanga for Māori. Waikato was one of the iwi that didn't sign the treaty at the time. All of this led to a lot of, I suppose, animosity between Māori and Pākehā, because we know from that time that a lot of broken promises happened through the treaty, and the big thing was a lot of land was unfairly and illegally taken out of the hands of and control of Māori, and which leads us to 1860, the New Zealand Māori, the New Zealand Wars, starting in Taranaki, through Waikato, Ōrākau, were areas where a lot of the hapu, the iwi of those areas were unhappy with what was going on. They stood up, they fought, and British imperialists, British soldiers came in and basically annihilated a lot of the whānau, a lot of the hapu in those areas. Very sad period of time, and as a consequence they took a lot of their land as compensation for the land, for the fighting and whatnot. Kia ora.
Kia ora, David.
Kia ora. So in 1992, treaty settlements were beginning to be signed. In 1992, a major treaty settlement was signed, and it was the commercial fishing something or other, and it costed, it got $170 million. In 1995, Tainui received their treaty settlement as well, which was another $170 million to that iwi, and also in 1998, Ngaitahu received their treaty settlements as well. In 2004, the Foreshore and Seabed Act was created. The Act said that the Crown would own the foreshore and seabed, and it guaranteed public access. Māori argued this legislation and said that it was ignoring their customary rights and breached the treaty. And from the Foreshore and Seabed Act in 2005, in May of 2005, a hikoi was created. More than 20,000 people, just protesting against this act, 20,000 Māoris, and they walked from the Cape Reinga all the way down to Wellington, to Parliament. And also in July of 2005, the Māori Party was created from this protest, I suppose. And now currently in 2012, is our water rights, is the argument that's happening at the moment. So this is between Genesis Energy and Māori people. They're arguing that they're the same thing. They're ignoring Māori customary rights, and what Māori are doing are testing their customary rights and preventing big corporations from trying to take over the water and stuff like that. They're currently at court, and another thing that's come out of this water rights argument is that all iwi have found unity. The king was actually the person who made the claim, and he created a hui down at Tūrangawaiwai Marae, which all different iwis went to and made a plan of attack to see what they were going to do about this problem. Kia ora.
Ka pai.